Devotion, an essential subject from Vinaypedia. If a person is lacking in devotion or Krishna consciousness, he cannot be released from material bondage. Even if he executes his prescribed duties, he will glide down into hell due to material consciousness. However, those who perform their prescribed duties with devotion are forever blessed. Therefore, whoever is engaged in his occupational duty must simultaneously cultivate Krishna consciousness in devotional service if he wants liberation from material clutches. Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, conversations and letters offer a comprehensive presentation of this essential subject as seen in the Vinay's devotion category. An introduction from his books is given below in the following 8 quotes. Quotes from Srila Prabhupada's books. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his transcendental form of Narahari and Sihadeva is always ready to kill the demons, who always create disturbances in the minds of honest devotees. To spread the Krishna consciousness movement, devotees have to face many dangers and impediments all over the world, but a faithful servant who preaches with great devotion to the Lord must know that Lord and Sihadeva is always his protector. Armad Bh Gavatam 7.8 51. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service, and when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. One must have full faith in the words of the spiritual master and similar faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Armad Bh Gavatam 7.7 17. One should not try to imitate Haridsa Kura at the beginning of one's transcendental life. One must first become very mature in devotion and thus receive the approval of our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only at such a time may one actually sit down peacefully in a solitary place to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and remember the lotus feet of the Lord. The senses are very strong, and if a neophyte devotee imitates Haridsa Kura, his enemies, Kama, Kritha, Labha, Moha, Mada and Amtsarya, will disturb and fatigue him. Chaitanya Karatam Ta, Madhya LL 11.176. One who is actually learned in the Vedic literature surrenders unto the Supreme Lord with great devotion and accepts him as the supreme goal. When a living entity forgets the constitutional nature of his relationship with God, he is at once overwhelmed by the external energy. This is the cause of his false ego, his false identification of the body with the self. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chapter 4. One who renders loving service to our Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with devotion and austerity, is the greatest of all mystics. Men who undertake austerities motivated by a desire for material results cannot be called yogas or mystics. Those who are not motivated by material results include the empiric philosopher, the mystic pursuing the eightfold mystic perfections, and finally the mystic engaged in the transcendental loving service of the personality of Godhead. Message of Godhead, Chapter 2. Pure devotion is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature. Unconditional devotional service cannot be checked by any material condition. This means that one does not have to be very rich to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the poorest man can equally serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead if he has pure devotion. If there is no ulterior motive, devotional service cannot be checked by any material condition. The real ingredient is bhakti, devotion. Chaitanya Karatam Ta, Madhya LL 1.161. The exemplary character of devotional service manifested by the devotees of VND Vana is the purest type of devotion. It is enjoined in authoritative sutras that devotional service must be ahaitic and apradat. This means that devotional service to Krishna cannot be checked by political or religious convention. The stage of devotional service is always transcendental. The Gopis particularly showed pure devotional service toward Krishna, so much so that Krishna himself remained indebted to them. Lord Chaitanya thus said that the devotional service manifested by the Gopis in VND Vana excelled all other methods of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna Book, Chapter 32. If a householder is to receive a saintly person, he has to receive his entourage also. It is said in the Stras that Durvas Muni was always accompanied by 60,000 disciples and that if there was a little discrepancy in their reception, he would be very angry and would sometimes curse the host. The fact is that every householder, regardless of his position or economic condition, can at least receive saintly guests with great devotion and offer them drinking water, for drinking water is available always. Armad Bh Gavatam 4.22. 10.